Everybody, Joe here, and I just wanted to come on and make a couple of videos to answer some of your questions. I've gotten a number of questions about thyroid lately because I've been talking about it a lot. One of them that I got, this is from Danielle, but honestly it's from Danielle and about 90 other people. I've gotten this question a lot. It's about thyroid testing and why the typical test that you get at your doctor's office may not be so accurate. So basically that's what she's asking. I won't read the exact question, but she's asking why. She's heard me talk about this before, but if I could explain a little bit further why the typical test that she gets at her doctor may not be accurate. She feels like she might be hypothyroid, but her doctor's test says that she's quote-unquote normal. Okay, so let me tackle this one first. So this is the normal, quote-unquote normal range, about 0.45 to 4.5. So, and what they're testing there is TSH, or thyroid-stimulating hormone. So first of all, let me explain what TSH, or thyroid-stimulating hormone, is and where it comes from, because contrary to what some people might think, it's not actually produced in the thyroid, it's produced in the pituitary gland. So imagine that the pituitary gland, which is in the brain, it sort of hangs down and it's a master gland, and it's sort of like a controlling gland. It receives information from different parts of the body, and then it sends information based on the information that it's getting. So in other words, in this case, if it detects that thyroid hormone is low in the body, it will produce TSH, or thyroid-stimulating hormone. And what that does is it sends a message down to the thyroid to sort of kick it up a notch. So if it detects that thyroid hormone is low, it will send TSH to tell the thyroid to make more thyroid hormone. Okay, so the normal, quote-unquote normal range of TSH is 0.45 to 4.5. That's typically the test that your doctor will run when you go to get your thyroid checked. So there are a couple of problems with that. One is that this range is way too high. It's way too wide. The way they came up with this range is that they looked at a bunch of tests. A bunch of people went and they got their thyroid checked. They analyzed all these people that got their tests done, get their TSH run, and they, on this end it's really low, and this end it's really high. And they said, well, logically, the people that are in the middle of this range should be normal. And that sounds logical, but here's the problem. Many of the people who were tested actually had hypothyroidism. So they didn't adjust for people who had hypothyroidism. They also didn't adjust for people who were undiagnosed. So for every person that's clinically diagnosed with hypothyroidism, there's going to be 2 or 3 people who have it but haven't been diagnosed, who basically don't know that they have it. And Chris Kresser talked about this in the thyroid sessions, and actually if you go there now at freet3.com, you can actually watch that session. He explains it a lot better than I do, but essentially they didn't adjust for people who had hypothyroidism, which throws this quote-unquote normal range off. There have been more recent research done on this, and when they did adjust for people with hypothyroidism and adjusted for and did testing on people to discover if they had undiagnosed hypothyroidism, they came up with quite a different range. So the range that is more accurate is 0.5 to only 2.2, about 2 or 2.2. So this is the actual range. That higher end of the range is about half of what the typical range is that you get from your doctor. So I've seen this actually quite a bit in my practice, and I know a lot of people have experienced this. They go to the doctor, and their TSH is 3 or 3.5, and the doctor says your thyroid's normal because it's within that range, but it's not. It's actually high. So what does that mean if TSH is high? If your pituitary gland is sending TSH to your thyroid saying, hey, pick it up a notch, it means your thyroid is underperforming. It's not creating enough thyroid hormone to support normal function. So high TSH is an indication of low thyroid function. I know it sounds a little bit backwards, but again, you have to realize that TSH is being made in the pituitary, not the thyroid. So it's sort of an indirect marker of your thyroid function. So I hope that helps. I want to keep these kind of short. I hope that explains exactly why it is that typical TSH test is not accurate, and it's also not enough. So if you were to go a little bit further with this and actually test T4 and T3. T4 is the main hormone that the thyroid produces, but T3 is the active form of thyroid. So that T4 needs to be converted into T3. And so ideally, your doctor would also test T4 and T3 and also test something called reverse T3. So all of those markers really is a complete thyroid panel, and without that, you're really not getting the full picture. Let's see, do I want to talk more about T3? I'll say that the T4, which is the main hormone that the thyroid produces, needs to be converted into T3, but what that conversion actually gets done in the liver. So you can take this test a little bit further and test T4, which isn't uncommon, and the T4 could look normal. But that doesn't mean that T3 is normal. There could be a situation where that T4 isn't being converted into T3, which actually could be a sign that there's a problem in the liver. Sometimes a thyroid problem isn't really a thyroid problem, and actually Reed Davis talked about that in the thyroid sessions too. So, but again, I just wanted to cover the basic test that most doctors run, which is that TSH test, why that's not accurate and why it's not enough. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers some questions. If you have any more questions, or if anyone has any other questions, you can leave a comment below this video, and I'll try and answer it, or I'll try and make another video to answer it too. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.